name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be another video in my 2 looks 1 palette, and this month, or I guess this time, because I already posted one this month because I was late for last month, but anyway, this video will be using the ABH Rose Metals palette. This came out years ago, and I mean, this whole series is supposed to be me using my like older palettes. I technically only bought this last year, but because it's like not new at all, I just thought I'd use it in the series. And I mean, it's kind of arbitrary anyway, because like this is just something I am doing for myself. And I also thought this would be a very good time to use this, because this to me is like the epitome of autumn in a palette. Maybe if we just had like a yellow golden like mustardy shade, this would pretty much be everything I would ever need in a fall themed palette. This is not a fall themed palette from ABH, it's just the Rose Metals palette, but that's what I thought of as soon as I saw this palette. I had wanted this for so long, and I didn't buy it until I think maybe like toward the end of last year. I got it 50% off. I wasn't going to buy it. I just had this on my wish list for the longest time, especially because I always do this where I ramble. I'm also putting on lotion, but it was on my wish list for like over a year, because especially with my low buy, I was like, I don't need it, I'll just like buy it when I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it. And then this was 50% off at Sephora, and I think also ABH, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is being discontinued. And I know ABH likes to discontinue stuff without telling anyone, ABH and Urban Decay, I feel like. And that already happened to me with a few different palettes, so I just kind of scooped this up, and then I realized Sephora was just doing that thing that they always do, where randomly they'll put a palette 50% off on their website, which is how actually for the past 2 years I've acquired like most of my palettes that are available at Sephora. They went 50% off, and I thought it was being discontinued, so I bought it. But I'm actually so glad that I have this, because it's such a beautiful palette. I used it in my No Pan Left Behind last year, and I took it with me on a weekend trip, and I was just like in love with this palette the whole time I was using it. And even now, like, I can't stop looking at it while I'm filming, so I'm very excited to use this. But I will just finally get started 3 minutes into the video. And as always, I'm going to use my Milani eyeshadow primer, and I'll just put this on both eyes right now, even though I'm only going to be doing one eye at a time. And my mirror is down here, in case you're wondering why I'm looking down. But this is just like such a beautiful palette to me. I would say this and the Melt Gemini palette, which I believe is also discontinued, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they're both just like such beautiful autumnal palettes, and I actually do want to find like a day or some sort of gap where I'm not using any Project Pan items for my eyeshadow that day to use the Melt Gemini, because it's so pretty for fall. But these two palettes are like my go-to palettes when I think of an eyeshadow look for autumn. And as always, I didn't really plan my looks that I was gonna do, so I'm kind of trying to think of this like off the cuff. Maybe I'll just start with something basic, and then as I'm doing my makeup, the ideas and the creativity will just flow. So I'm gonna start with this warm brown matte called Sun Rose here, and just put it all over my eye, wrong brush, all over my eye. And this is just so pretty, and the mattes like are such good quality too, but also like the shades, like the metallics are super punchy, and they're like one swipe pigment, but they're also just like such a beautiful like curation of metallics in this palette. And I think that's what really got me, like before purchasing it and realizing like how the quality was so good. What really got me was the metallics in this palette. They were just so beautiful. I literally remember the first time I ever saw this palette, I was in a Sephora store and I just walked past the ABH section and I did a double take because I saw all of these metallics in here and I immediately had to swatch them, of course. And I just kind of became obsessed. So now I'm gonna use the dark brown shade in here, Noble. That's the only deep matte shade in here, and then the only deep metallic is this one here called Nocturne. So those are, I mean, I guess like maybe like depending on your skin tone, like just speaking for myself, maybe depending on your skin tone, there are different like ranges of shades in here for you. Maybe you think like the palette is too deep in general, but for me, those are the only two shades that I would use for my outer corner. And I'm putting Noble on my outer corner right now. But yeah, I would say that's maybe like the one thing that I would change about this palette if I could, is maybe swap out Ashes. Ashes is kind of like a really pale mauve-y, browny, grayish matte. And even though like I use it, like I had to use it for my No Pan Left Behind, I like could do without it, and I would probably swap it out for like maybe another deeper like cool tone shade. I don't know, maybe like a different kind of muted colorful matte, like even a transition shade matte. But I still really love this palette. So yeah, this like, I just love how that dark brown is so impactful. It doesn't just blend away into nothing, because I find that sometimes like even if there is a deeper shade in the palette, it kind of just like muddies up and blends away into like not really that much of a color. But this one, Noble, like you can see it. And I'm just gonna tap one more time into that and kind of like stamp it in right on my lash line. And then back with that first brush that I used for Sunrose, with nothing else on it, I'm just gonna like kind of go along the edges of everything and like diffuse any potentially harsh lines. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of hard to mess up with this palette because like I said, the mattes are so good in here. Now I'm gonna put my NYX glitter primer all over my right eyelid. And sorry, my pinky just cracked. I think I'm gonna be a little basic here. I might just put Rose Fire, is that it? Yeah, Rose Fire all over my lid, and then the shade Element, which is like not a satin, but it's like definitely not as much of a bright punchy metallic, but the shade Element on the outer part of my lid. And oh my gosh, these shades are something else. Now just taking Element and just gonna like tap it on here because I don't want it to go too far out. But I really like these kind of like deeper metallics to kind of just like diffuse like the lid punchy metallic into the matte, not only in like finish but also in depth. I feel like these are really good transition shades, so I actually really like having that shade in this palette, even though I probably wouldn't use it all over my lid because it's like pretty deep and not as metallic as I would like. It's pretty much the perfect shade to do exactly that, so I really enjoy that. And it's also just such a pretty shade. And even though I almost always mess up putting metallics on my eye with my finger because I have super chunky fingers and I'm never careful, that somehow ended up perfectly. So I'm gonna put on some dark brown eyeliner and mascara and be right back. There's that look finished. I don't think I'm gonna add an inner corner highlight because other than this topper shade called Heavenly, which is like literally just, it's that I don't know, glowy shade right there, and that's not much of a base, so I don't think I'm gonna put it on my inner corner. But I'm very happy with the way it looks now. I think it's so beautiful. I actually don't think I ever did this exact look, as basic as it is. I don't think I did this look when I was using it for the first time last year, and I actually think this is so beautiful, like super basic and easy, but so beautiful. I sometimes think like the simplest, most like neutral nude looks can be the prettiest because they just like kind of look good on like your skin, and they kind of just like enhance the beauty of your own skin. So I'm really liking that. And I think like just putting that deeper shade on the outer corner kind of lifted my eye a bit. So that's very cute. And the reason I have these swatches on my hand is because I was trying to decide. I only have one more eye, but there's so many, like I want to use every shade in this palette. That's the issue with this palette. I love every single shade in here. Again, could do without ashes, but I potentially might use it in this look because I don't know if I should do like a cool tone look, maybe with like ashes and then the silver and then this deeper kind of like gray silver gunmetal shade, or if I should use like this topper kind of like slightly sparkly, slightly iridescent, just like ethereal shade, or should I use this shade which is called Nova, which is like pretty much my favorite shade in the palette because it's a gold, but it's like this rustic kind of like antique gold that is so pretty, and I love a grungy shade. We all know this if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, but then I could use that pop of color here, this like cranberry shade. I don't know. Also, I'm using this microfiber cloth to wipe off my swatches because I ran out of my not rags, but like washcloths, and this is very good at getting all of the swatches off in one swipe. But I was also using one of these in the morning to do my makeup, and this was not good at getting the foundation off my hands, so I'll just remember that for later. I really don't think I'm going anywhere today, so I think I'll just do that silver gray look on this eye. If I was going somewhere, I'd probably do something that was like less obviously a different look on this eye, because sometimes like I forget and I go out and people look at me weird and I don't realize until I get home. So I am going to put this shade Ashes just all over my eye, and I'm gonna try to build it up maybe if I can, because I kind of like don't want to have to use that Noble shade again. But this is, yeah, on me it literally just looks like a mauve tone gray, which I don't hate. I do love those mauve tone grays also, as I say all the time, but this is again like an autumnal palette for me, and that doesn't really go in my opinion. So just like buffing out the edges so that it's kind of diffused, because especially with, you know, a cool tone shade like this, I do not want any harsh lines because it's gonna look extra stark on my skin tone. I really hope you can still get this palette. I don't think you can because I have not seen it in Sephora. I don't really go on the ABH website too often. I've only ever made one order from ABH, and it was to get some eyeshadow singles. I'm just gonna try to build that shade up kind of in my transition area. I want it to stay diffused, like not in my transition area, in my crease area. I want it to stay diffused in my transition and like getting closer to my brow bone, but I want some depth there, and I was able to build it up, so that's good. I will say building it up, you definitely can tell it's like very gray on me. So I'm gonna put some NYX glitter primer just all over my eyelid, and then I'll start with my metallic, and this is that shade Haze. It's not like a super silver like chrome silver, but it definitely is a cool tone silver. So I'm just gonna keep this on the first half of my eyelid, and my eye is watering so badly because of course it is. And then I'm gonna take this, it pretty much has the same finish as this one Element. I'm gonna take the shade Nocturne and again just focus it on the outer half of my eyelid. And I was a bit worried that these wouldn't have enough of a contrast on my lid, but they definitely do. So I'm just gonna take this brush and with nothing on it, kind of just like tap it on the edges, not really swirl it around because I don't want any fallout to get on my face because I've clearly already done my makeup. I'm just gonna tap it on the edges to kind of diffuse. I keep saying diffuse. Girl, pick a new word. To blend out the edges of that shade into that first shade Ashes, and then do the same thing with what is it called, Haze. And I really like the gradient. I'm just like moving my whole body. I really like the gradient that that creates, it's so pretty. It's like the same effect as this eye on this one, because I mean I was like pretty much using the exact same things, just different like shades. I was thinking I might use that Heavenly topper just all across my eyelid, but I actually like the way this looks so much. But I think I want to do something on my lower lid, but I actually don't have like a pencil brush because I dropped it on the floor and none of my other ones are clean. Okay, this is definitely cheating, but it's my video, so I can do what I want. I'm going to use the like pewter shade of this Tarte Quick Stick. It's just like an eyeshadow stick. It looks like this. I'm gonna use this on like the outer 2/3 of my lower lash line to kind of tie the lower lash line in with this, because it does look a little bare. And now I'm just gonna add black eyeliner and mascara to this eye and be back. Actually, before I put on mascara, I think I will put a tiny bit of Heavenly, just try to keep it like very concentrated on the tip of my pinky and put it on the inner third of my lower lash line, because I think it will be pretty and I really want to use that shade because it is such a beautiful shade. Yeah, that is really pretty actually. Maybe I'll just put, oh no, I've been let loose. Maybe I'll put a tiny bit of it in my inner corner, even though I said I wasn't gonna do that. Just, I guess, like bring it up so that it's taking up like a bunch of my eye. Okay, I kind of like that. Even though Heavenly is like slightly warmer toned, like it's not just neutral, in my opinion, it is kind of warm tone. It's like icy warm tone. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I feel like I can get away with it with this cool tone look. So that's the final look for this eye, and yeah, that's everything for this video pretty much, using the ABH Rose Metals palette. I freaking love this palette, and like I had fond memories of it, but now like it just kind of reminded me in real time why I love this palette so much and how beautiful it actually is. Like, even though my preferences, I'm sure in some ways, have changed since a year ago, I still think this palette is not only great quality, so like at least the quality hasn't declined, because I know sometimes ABH palettes can expire more quickly than most, but I still love the looks that it gives, and it is so pretty, and it just looks, I think, very good on my skin tone, and I'm sure everyone's skin tone, because I think the shades are just so nice that they would look good on anyone. Also, I should mention that when I took this on vacation with me last year, I did not bring my NYX glitter primer, so I was using all of these shades just dry on my lid, and they not only were just as punchy as they are now, but they lasted all day. And I even got like a bunch of compliments every time I wore this eyeshadow palette from like not only family but random strangers. So I think this palette is just kind of overall good, and I would actually give this palette, I would say, a 10 out of 10. Like, I really have no complaints. Even my least favorite shade in the palette I made work for me, and the quality is amazing, and yeah, I kind of really have no actual complaints. So 10 out of 10. This would probably be, I don't know, it's definitely not the palette from ABH I get the most use out of, but this would probably have to be my favorite ABH palette. So anyway, I'll just end the video here before I keep rambling, because I could. Also, sorry for the messy background. I usually try to make my bed before I film, but Roxy is napping, and I think it's an actual felony to move a cat when it's napping, except for emergencies, and this was not a good enough reason to move her. So yeah, it's just, it is what it is. But I'm gonna go actually start my day and probably look at myself in the mirror a lot today. So yeah, I'll just see you in my, I don't know if you can hear that, my stomach's grumbling. I need to go eat breakfast, but yeah, I will just see you in my next video, and until then, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.